Hi, this is Dexter from The Offspring. You're watching VIVA on VIVA TV. I was personally attracted to punk music because of the energy of the music and because of the things they wrote about. Punk rock music, it had never been about money or trying to get popular or anything. They're trying to make a trend out of punk rock. They're saying punk rock is the next big thing, and punk rock bands have been around for 15 years, and you know, and we're doing the same kind of music that a lot of bands have done before. I mean, radio and TV doesn't have to be a bad thing depending on how you use it. Like we were talking about before, we're using it carefully. We try to use it when it seems right, and we're not whoring ourselves out to TV or radio. We're not just doing anything anybody asks us to do, and if you put out music the way you want to, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think people rag on the TV and radio because there's a lot of crappy music that gets played on the radio and TV, but if you're doing something that's a little more genuine, a little more realistic, or just better music, I think it's okay. Blah, blah, blah. Where do you draw the line? You know, how can you say, well, it's okay for us to play in front of 100 people, but no more, or it's okay to play 500, but no more. I mean, that whole arbitrary point of where you draw the line, how many people you can play for, how many records you're supposed to sell, it really shouldn't be relevant. I mean, what should be relevant is the way you're just being a band, you know, whether there are lots of cool bands that don't ever get popular at all, and there are some cool bands that get very popular, and it should just be what the band's about, not what the reaction is. If you don't fit in high school, then people say you're a geek, you're a nerd. Well, okay, maybe that's true, but there was more than just that going on, you know. And the funny thing is that writing songs about stuff like that now, like self-esteem, it used to be an outsider for thinking these things. And now that these songs are doing well, it shows that it's not such an outsider thing to think anymore, that there are many regular people that have these kinds of feelings. I mean, I know that Brett, he puts all his money back into the company, you know, basically, and he's really been able to grow. You know, when the label first started and it was just Bad Religion, he was taking all of the money that came in from Bad Religion and he was trying to promote other bands like Pennywise and NoFX and Us and Rancid. And now that those bands are doing better, then he's taking that and he's trying to promote other bands like the Red Ants and Gas Huffer. People say, well, we're going to stay on Epitaph until we die. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm glad that we stayed on Epitaph, and there's a lot of good things about it. Like you said, an old punk rocker runs the label, and I feel that he understands what we need as a band and stuff, and he was really supportive and helped us, and He didn't do really lame things that a lot of major labels would do. And there's a lot of major labels that really don't know what the music's about. They don't understand, and I don't think they promote bands in the right way. So, I mean, I'm glad that we stayed on Epitaph, and I'd like to stay on Epitaph, actually. It's just, actually, we're talking right now, we're trying to work out an agreement to do some more records for Epitaph.
People buy it for more for the music or the sound, and that's just something secondary that they might listen to. As far as like our records go, most people buy our records, I don't think really care about, you know, and they might care about what's going on, but that's not why they buy a record, not for a message, really.
The way we've treated it is that we're a band first, which means we just make music. And since you have to put lyrics with music, we try to write about something with a message, but it's not the most important thing to have a deep message. We don't want to try to preach to the audience or try to convert them or anything like that. It's just, there's a message there if you want to look for it. I think that this generation has to deal with a lot of new things, as far as like the economy getting worse and everybody having to work harder for less money, as well as other things like the nuclear threat, AIDS. These are unique things that prior generations didn't have to deal with, and that was what the song was talking about, that we have new things to deal with, and you better live fast because there might not be a tomorrow. I like the old English scene, the old Sex Pistols and Clash scene, the LA scenes with Fear, Dead Kennedys, which was part of a Northern California scene with the Avengers, of course the Orange County stuff, but even some of the DC stuff like Minor Threat and Fugazi I like a lot too. I personally wasn't really part of the whole New York thing. We were actually listening to bands that were from Orange County, which are a little bit different, like Social Distortion and TSOL and the Adolescents. So those were more of the bands that we listened to, along with the Dead Kennedys. But and our sound is kind of derived from that. It sounds more Orange County. It kind of has its own unique sound if you listen to those bands, just like bands from LA have kind of their own sound, and DC and New York, like you said. So yeah, it's basically where we came from, and yeah, we're proud of it.